How did buying one luxury watch turn into divorce papers being handed to me in a public lobby? Why did my husband stay calm for months, then end it in one clean legal move? Can someone still call herself the victim when the bank alerts and screenshots are read out loud? My name is Araminta Crowell, but most people call me Minty. I was 34, and I worked in customer support at a home insurance call center. I talked to upset people all day and smiled with my voice. When I came home, I wanted someone to finally see me. I wanted softness. I wanted praise. I wanted to feel like I still had power. Evan was my husband. He was 36, and he built bridges and roads for a living. He liked plans. He liked calm. He liked lists that stayed clean. For years, I told myself his order was safety. But after 2 kids and a lot of normal days, I started to call it control. That word tasted useful in my mouth. Control made him the bad guy, and it made me the brave one. That morning, we stood in the kitchen with the same old light and the same old hum from the fridge. The cereal boxes were lined up like they had to be judged. Evan asked if we could review the down payment spreadsheet after breakfast. He said we were close, and he wanted to lock the plan in. I said I was tired of living like a project. I said I did not marry a manager. I made my voice sharp on purpose, because sharp voices end conversations faster. He looked at his phone. A calendar reminder flashed for a second. I saw a place name and a time, something like Riverside and 10:40 a.m. He turned the screen away without thinking. I told myself it was proof he had secrets too. I told myself I was not the only one hiding things. That thought felt like a small gift. Noah ran in asking for his missing sock. Mila wanted her cup and cried when it was the wrong color. I moved through them fast like a worker on a line. Evan cut fruit without asking for praise. When he was good, it made me feel smaller. I hated that feeling. So I told myself he was only good because he wanted credit. On the drive to work, I played my favorite game in my head. I picked a problem and turned it into a story where I was the hero. Evan was easy to cast as the villain. He did not know how to perform love in public. He did not post cute photos. He did not bring flowers just because. He thought showing up was enough. I decided it was not enough. I decided I deserved more than enough. At the office, the lights were too bright, and the air smelled like printer paper. The open plan desks made everyone's life feel public. That was why gossip lived there like a pet. My best friend at work, Talia, waited near the break room with her coffee. She asked why I looked so pleased. I said my husband was finally learning his place. I said I was done being the one who begged for attention. I laughed like it was harmless. Talia leaned in and asked if there was someone new. I acted offended for 1 second, then I let my face relax. I said I was only finding myself. I said Evan was lucky I still came home at all. That line made Talia grin. She liked lines that sounded bold. My phone buzzed in my pocket during the morning calls. I waited until I had a break. When I looked, I saw a message preview from Jace Holloway. He was 35 and worked around luxury goods. He knew how to talk about expensive things like they were normal. His message said he had found something perfect and he could not stop thinking about me. I did not open it right away. I let the preview sit there so I could feel wanted longer. When I finally opened it, he asked if I could meet after work. He said he had a surprise. I said I would try. I used careful words, not because I respected my husband, but because I respected my own comfort. Cheating was risky, but being bored felt worse. That is what I told myself. All day, when angry customers yelled at me, I stayed calm. I apologized. I fixed problems. I kept my voice sweet. Inside, I kept thinking about being chosen. It felt unfair that strangers got my best patience, but my husband got my worst mood. Then I told myself it was his fault for not making home feel like a reward. After work, I told Evan there was a last-minute team issue. I said my manager needed me to stay. I said it was not my choice. He asked why it happened so often lately. I said his questions were exhausting. I said he did not trust me. I watched him swallow his reply. I wanted him to feel guilty. I needed him to feel guilty, because guilt is a leash. I met Jace at a rooftop bar downtown. The place had loud music and soft lights that made everyone look better than they were. Jace greeted me like I was rare. He asked how my day was, and listened like every word mattered. I said work was draining, and my home life was worse. I said Evan acted like my father. I said he tracked our money like I was a child. Jace nodded and said I deserved to be celebrated. He asked if Evan ever bought me nice things without being asked. I said no, even though it was not fully true. Evan bought me things sometimes, but he did it quietly, like he was checking a box. I needed my story to stay clean. In my story, Evan was the kind of man who made a woman go looking. Jace told me he had been thinking about symbols. He said some people understood love through gifts. He said there was a luxury watch he could get, a watch that looked like success. He said he wanted something that showed I believed in him. He did not say it like a demand. He said it like a dream. That was his skill. He made me feel like I was building a life, not breaking one. I said I liked the idea. I said Evan never wore anything special because he did not care about style. I said Evan acted above it all. I said I wanted a man who enjoyed life. The more I talked, the more my own words pushed me forward. It was like walking downhill. It felt easy, and it felt like destiny. When I got home later, the house was quiet except for the dishwasher. Evan sat at the table with his laptop open. He asked why I was late. I said the team issue became a full problem. I said I could not just leave. I made my face tired and my voice hurt. He asked if I could text next time. I said he was not my supervisor. I said it was strange how he needed updates like a prison guard. He closed his laptop slowly. I noticed his phone was face down. I noticed his mug on the counter and my mug on the other side, like they belonged to two different people. I told myself he was doing it to punish me. I told myself I was not doing anything wrong by looking for warmth somewhere else. In the bedroom, he asked if we could talk about money again tomorrow. He said we should be careful until we bought the house. I said he cared more about a down payment than about my happiness. I said respect follows results, and I had results. I meant my job, my body, my social life, my ability to keep going. I acted like Evan owed me for simply being me. He turned off the light. He did not touch me. I lay there and stared at the ceiling. I thought about Jace's hands, not in a graphic way, but in the way a person thinks about being guided. I thought about a watch shining under soft light. I thought about the savings balance sitting like a locked door. I opened our banking app in the dark and looked at the down payment number. It was not small. It was a future. My finger hovered like it was waiting for permission. I told myself I was not stealing. I told myself it was an investment in my joy. I told myself Evan would understand later if he really loved me. My phone lit up again, with Jace's message, and my thumb moved before my conscience could speak. In the morning, I woke up before Evan. I stayed still and listened to the house. The heater clicked. The hallway light from the baby monitor blinked. I felt like I was about to do something brave, not wrong. That is how my mind worked when I wanted something. I went to the kitchen and made coffee. Evan came in and looked tired. He asked if I slept okay. I said I did not sleep well because I felt unseen. I made it sound like his fault that I had a heavy chest. He said we could talk after the kids were at school. I said talking never changed anything. While he packed lunches, I opened the banking app again. I stared at the down payment account. The number looked like a wall. I told myself walls were meant to be climbed. I told myself I was not taking from the kids. I told myself I was taking from Evan's control. After school drop-off, I did not drive straight to work. I pulled into a bank parking lot and sat in my car with the engine off. My hands shook a little. I hated that part. I hated feeling like a person who had to sneak, so I changed the story in my head. I told myself I was simply moving money that already belonged to me. I transferred the money in 2 chunks. I did it that way because it felt less loud. I told myself it looked normal. I told myself the bank would not notice. I watched the confirmation screen and felt a quick rush, like winning. Then I felt a cold spot in my stomach. I pushed that down. A bank text alert popped up on my phone. It said there was unusual activity. I stared at it like it was rude. I deleted it. Then I remembered Evan also got alerts. I told myself it did not matter. I told myself I could handle one small question. At the office, I walked in like nothing happened. I put on my headset and took calls. People complained about leaks and broken fences. I apologized on repeat. I smiled with my voice again. In between calls, I checked my phone. Jace said he could meet me at the mall on my lunch break. He said the watch was available today. He asked if I was sure. I told him I was sure. I wrote that I loved how he moved fast. I wrote that I liked a man who did not overthink. I felt proud of that line. It made me feel modern and free. It made me feel like Evan was old-fashioned and slow. Talia saw me texting and raised her eyebrows. She asked who had me smiling like that. I said it was nothing, just a friend. She asked if it was the same friend from the rooftop bar. I said she was funny. She asked if I was finally choosing myself. I said yes, like it was a healthy thing. At lunch, I drove to the mall. I told myself I deserved a smooth day. I told myself the world owed me softness. I met Jace near a luxury boutique. He looked excited, like he was about to open a gift. He asked if I missed him. I said yes, and I meant the feeling, not the person. Inside the boutique, everything looked clean and quiet. Glass cases shined. The air smelled like leather and perfume. A sales rep greeted us and asked how he could help. Jace asked to see a specific watch. The rep brought it out like it was a crown. Jace held it up to the light. He said it was perfect. He asked if I could imagine it on his wrist when he closed deals. I said I could imagine it. I said it would make him look unstoppable. I said I liked being part of his rise. I made it sound like love. I knew it was also a game. The sales rep asked for payment and ID. I handed over my card with a smile. I kept my face steady. I did not want to look nervous. I did not want to look like someone spending family money. I wanted to look like a woman with her own life. The card went through. The rep printed a receipt. Jace asked about engraving. He asked if we could add something private, a short message. I said yes because I wanted the secret to feel official. I chose simple words that sounded romantic but also safe. Nothing explicit, just enough to bind me to the moment. When we left the store, Jace kissed my cheek in the mall corridor. He asked if Evan would notice. I said Evan barely noticed me. I said he would only notice if the numbers changed. I laughed like it was his weakness. Jace said I was brave. I let that word sit in my chest like a medal. Back at work, I tried to act normal. My hands kept reaching for my phone. I checked the bank app again. The down payment account looked smaller now. I told myself it was temporary. I told myself I could replace it later. I told myself Evan spent money on his hobbies too. I ignored the part where Evan's hobbies never took from our future. Near the end of the day, Evan texted me. He asked if we could talk tonight about the bank alert. He said he got a message about unusual activity. I felt annoyed, like he had interrupted my victory lap. I replied that the bank always overreacted, and it was probably a system error. I added a tired emoji to make it seem casual. When I got home, Evan was in the kitchen with the kids. Noah showed me a drawing. Mila wanted me to watch her dance. I did my part and smiled. Then I set my bag down and waited for Evan to bring up the money. He asked about the bank alert while he rinsed a plate. He asked if I transferred anything today. I said no. I said banks send alerts for no reason. I said maybe someone tried to access the account. I made my eyes wide like I was concerned. I acted like we were on the same team. He asked if I could show him my phone. I said it was insulting that he asked. I said he should trust his wife. I said he was turning into a paranoid person. I watched him hesitate. He did not push. That made me feel powerful and also strangely angry, like he was refusing to play my game. Later, when the kids were in bed, Evan sat at the table with his laptop open. A spreadsheet was on the screen, but I could not see the title. He closed it when I walked behind him. It was fast, like a reflex. I wanted to call him out, but I also wanted to keep my own secrets safe, so I chose a different fight. I asked why he always looked busy. He asked why I was tense. I said I was tense because he made everything feel like a test. He said he only wanted to protect our plan. I said plans were not love. I said he cared about money more than me. I went to the hallway closet to grab a blanket and saw something new on the shelf. There were folders with clean labels. One said household, one said bank, one said utilities. The labels looked calm. I hated how calm they looked. It felt like he was building a wall without telling me. I asked what those were. Evan said they were just organized files. He said it was easier that way. I said he was acting like a lawyer. He said he was acting like an adult. His tone stayed flat. That made my skin itch. A missed call showed on his phone screen when it lit up. There was no caller ID, just a blank line and a time. He tapped it away. I pretended I did not see it. Then I told myself it was proof again. I told myself he was hiding things too. It was a lie I liked. That night, when the house was quiet, I heard a soft beep from his phone on the counter. It sounded like a recording app starting and stopping. I looked, but the screen was dark again. I told myself I imagined it. Then I told myself it did not matter. In bed, Evan asked if we could review our spending tomorrow. I said he should stop policing me. I said he was lucky I still tried. He did not answer right away. He turned to his side and faced away from me. I stared at the ceiling and felt the first real fear slip in. Not guilt, fear. I thought about how clean his folders were. I thought about that missed call. I thought about the way he kept his voice steady. In the hallway, I heard a small click, like a drawer locking, and I realized he was not just hurt, he was preparing. The next weekend, my mother said we should all meet for dinner. She said family time would reset the mood. I knew what she meant. She meant I should bring Evan into a room full of witnesses, so I would feel strong again. We went to a family restaurant with a long table, the kind of place where the lights were warm and the menu was too big. My mother arrived first and hugged me like I had survived something. She asked if I was okay. I said I had been carrying everything alone. She nodded hard, like she already believed my version. Evan greeted everyone politely. He helped Noah with his chair and gave Mila her crayons. He did not look angry. That made me want to pull a reaction out of him, like a loose thread. When the drinks came, my sister Bree asked how the house plan was going. Evan said we were still saving and still looking. I jumped in fast. I said the plan was slow because Evan liked control more than joy. I said I wanted a home, not a spreadsheet. Bree blinked and looked down at her plate. Evan asked if we could talk about that later. He kept his voice low. I answered louder. I said he always wanted private talks because he could not handle the truth in public. My mother laughed in a sharp way and said men like that were exhausting. I felt my chest lift. I liked having backup. Caleb, Evan's brother, asked Evan about work. Evan answered and tried to move the conversation. I did not let it move. I made a joke about Evan being married to the budget. I said he should put the down payment on a calendar because he loved calendars so much. People laughed. Evan's mouth tightened, then relaxed again. He stayed calm. That calm made me feel like my joke hit a wall. Patricia, Evan's mother, asked me softly if I was doing okay. I said I was doing fine, and I said it with a smile that meant the opposite. I added that it was hard when a husband acted cold. I made it sound like he refused affection, like he was the cause of everything. Patricia's eyes narrowed, but she did not argue at the table. She just picked up her fork slowly. When dessert came, My mother asked Evan if he planned to finally treat me when we got the house. Evan said he tried to treat me in ways that made sense for the family. I laughed and said love should feel fun, not practical. I looked at the others like I was performing a stand-up set. I wanted the room to choose me. Evan asked me, again, to keep it respectful. I said, respect followed results, and I had results. I meant my job, my parenting, my ability to keep the household moving. I made Evan sound like a passenger in my life. I saw Bree flinch, but my mother nodded like I had made a strong point. After dinner, I checked my phone under the table. Jace had sent a photo. The watch was on his wrist, shining under soft light. He asked if I liked seeing it on him. I said yes. I saved the photo without thinking, like it was harmless. 2 days later, there was a community charity event at the hall near my office. Talia had talked about it for weeks. She said we should show up as a power couple, and she laughed when she said it. I knew she did not mean Evan and me. She meant me and my image. Evan came because I pushed him. I said it would look bad if he stayed home. He asked why it mattered so much. I said people notice these things. I said it was basic support. He agreed, and that made me feel like I had won. At the event, Talia took photos the second we walked in. She asked Evan to stand closer to me. He did. She asked us to smile bigger. Evan smiled small. I leaned in and smiled wide. I wanted to look like the person who was still thriving. Talia posted a story and tagged me. The caption said something like, "She deserves better." I reposted it right away. I told myself it was about my hard work, not about my marriage, but I also knew what it implied, and I liked that too. People at the hall came over and asked how the house hunt was going. I said it was slow because Evan overthinks everything. I said he made simple things heavy. Evan stood beside me and didn't interrupt. He nodded like he was listening to a stranger talk about him. His calm made me feel exposed, like my words had no target. On the drive home, Evan asked why I kept making jokes about him. I said they were not jokes, they were facts. I said he should take feedback like an adult. He asked if I was unhappy. I said any woman would be unhappy if she felt ignored. I did not say the word cheating, but I said enough to make him feel accused. At home, I went to the balcony with my phone. I opened the photo of Jace's watch again. I zoomed in, like the details could give me comfort. I noticed the location tag attached to the photo. It showed the rooftop bar from before. My stomach tightened for a second, but I told myself it didn't matter. I told myself metadata was not a crime. Inside, Evan made tea and cleaned the kitchen without asking for help. I watched him move with that steady pace. He asked if we could talk about the bank activity again. I said he was obsessed. I said he was acting like I had done something terrible. He said he was not accusing me, he just needed clarity. I said he didn't need clarity, he needed trust. As he put mugs away, I noticed there were 2 mugs on opposite counters again. One near him, one near me. It looked like a quiet line in the room. I hated that line, so I tried to erase it with noise. I opened my group chat with Talia and a few other friends and sent the watch photo, cropped close so it was just wrist and shine. I said it was inspo. Talia replied with fire emojis. Another friend asked whose wrist it was. I said it was nobody important. I told myself a lie so easily that it felt like breathing. Later that night, I walked past the kitchen counter and saw a sticky note near Evan's laptop. It said, "Bring forms." The handwriting looked like his. I stared at it for 1 second too long. Evan came in and picked it up. He did not explain. He just folded it and put it in his pocket like it was nothing. I went to bed and opened Talia's repost again. I watched the little hearts float up on my screen. I felt proud, like I had won a small public vote. Then my phone buzzed with a new comment on the watch photo I had sent earlier. A coworker wrote, in the chat, that the hand looked familiar, and she asked if that was my husband's hand. The next Monday at work, I tried to act like the comment in the group chat never happened. I told myself people forgot things fast. I told myself a question was not proof. Still, my hands felt clumsy on my keyboard. I kept checking my phone like it could bite me. Talia cornered me near the printers and asked what that coworker meant. I said she was being weird and dramatic. I said people love to make stories. Talia said the wrist did look familiar. I said lots of men had the same wrists. I laughed too loud, and I could hear it sound fake. Around mid-morning, my manager messaged me and asked me to step into a small room near HR. She said it would be quick. The hallway was quiet, and the carpet made everything feel secret. In my head, I already blamed Evan. I told myself his control was leaking into my work life. An HR woman sat with a notebook. She asked if everything at home was okay, because there were some concerns about stress and distractions. She said she was not accusing me of anything. She said the company just wanted to support employees. I made my eyes wet on purpose. I said things had been tense at home. I said my husband tracked money and questioned my time. I said it made me anxious. I did not say he yelled. I did not say he threatened. I stayed careful because I knew the rules. But I let the words hang in a way that made him look unsafe without me lying directly. The HR woman asked if I felt in danger. I said not exactly, but I said I felt watched. I said it was hard to breathe sometimes. I said I wanted to focus on work and be a good mother, but I felt judged. She nodded and wrote notes. She offered resources and asked if I needed a schedule change. I said I just needed peace. I left the room feeling both powerful and sick. In the break room, Talia asked how it went. I said HR understood that I was under pressure. I said I was handling it like an adult. Talia asked if Evan was doing something. I said he was not violent, but he was intense. I hated how easy that was to say. It made my story sound serious. It made me look like the one trying. That afternoon, Evan texted me and asked if I could bring home receipts from the weekend. He said he needed them for the budget file. I read the message 3 times. I felt rage, like he had insulted me. I wrote back that he was obsessed. He replied that he was only organizing things. He added a short line that said he wanted our records clear. His tone was so flat it felt like a wall. On the drive home, I practiced what I would say if he pushed again. I planned to say the bank was glitchy. I planned to say my card was compromised. I planned to say I was tired of being interrogated. I did not plan to tell the truth. I picked up Noah and Mila from after-school care. Noah asked if we could go to the store for snacks. I said yes, because I wanted to look like the fun parent. Evan met us at the supermarket later because he said he needed a few things too. He did not act angry. He greeted the kids. He took Mila's hand. He asked me how my day was, like we were normal. At the checkout, I unloaded items fast. I wanted the cashier to see me as a capable mother, not a mess. When it was time to pay, I tapped my card and smiled at the screen. The machine beeped and showed declined. My face went hot. I tried again. It declined again. The cashier waited with a blank look. People in line shifted their weight. I laughed and said the bank had been weird lately. I said it happened sometimes. I tried to make it sound casual. Evan stepped forward without a word and paid with his card. He did it calmly, like he was paying for one apple, not saving me from embarrassment. The cashier gave the receipt. Evan took it and folded it once. He put it in his wallet like he had done it 1,000 times. In the parking lot, I snapped at him and asked why my card declined. He said he did not know. He said maybe the bank flagged something. He said we could call them together. I said he set it up. I said he wanted to humiliate me. Evan asked why I always turned problems into fights. I said because he never listened until I raised my voice. Noah climbed into the back seat and asked why I sounded mad. He asked if Dad was in trouble. Evan told him everything was fine and asked him about school. I hated that Evan could switch into calm father mode so easily. It made me look like the storm. I told myself Evan did it to make me look bad. Later, at the playground, Noah ran toward the slides. Mila played near the little bridge. Evan sat on a bench and watched them. I sat on the other end of the bench with my phone. The space between us felt like a statement. Evan asked if we could talk about money without the kids hearing. I said he could stop being dramatic. I said it was just money. He said it was our plan, and it was trust. I said trust was also emotional, and he failed there first. He asked what that meant. I said he made me lonely. I said any woman would break under that. I watched his jaw tighten, then relax again. Noah came over with a scrape on his knee. Evan cleaned it with a wipe from his pocket. Noah asked why Dad slept in the guest room. Evan said he needed space to think. Noah looked at me and asked if I was the reason. I smiled and told him Dad was just stressed. I told him adults had boring problems. I said it was not his job to worry. The words were right, but my voice was too quick. That night, after the kids were asleep, I walked into the kitchen and smelled faint toner. It was a dry, dusty smell, like someone had been printing. The printer tray held a single blank page. It looked fresh, like it had just been tested. I stood there for a moment and tried to tell myself it meant nothing. Evan sat at the table with his phone and laptop. His phone lit up with a thread title I could read for a second. Follow up. He turned the screen away when he noticed me looking. I asked who he was talking to. He said it was personal. I laughed and said I was not allowed to have privacy, but he was. He did not argue. He only said he was keeping things organized. I went to the bedroom and opened the banking app again, mostly to calm myself. The down payment account did not look the same. The buttons looked limited, like something had been set to review or hold. I stared at the screen and felt a new kind of fear. It felt like the first real boundary I did not control. I did not tell anyone at work that my card declined. I told myself it was a random glitch. Still, I felt the fear stick to me all week. When I opened the banking app, the down payment account looked different. Some buttons were grey. Some actions asked for extra steps. It felt like the money had been moved behind glass. I decided it was Evan's fault, because that story kept me from feeling like a thief. I told myself he was punishing me. I told myself he wanted to train me like a pet. That idea made me angry enough to act, and anger was easier than shame. On Tuesday, I met Talia at the gym lobby before work. I said I needed self-care, but I really needed an ally. Talia asked if Evan was still acting weird. I said he had started freezing me out. I said he loved control more than love. Talia suggested I post something confident, something that made me look strong and him look small. I said I did not want drama, but I also said people needed to know my side. I liked how that sounded, like I was responsible. After the gym, we stopped at a smoothie place. Jace texted me and asked if I could meet that night. He said he missed me and he had a new idea for our future. I told him yes. I also told him Evan was acting strange, like he was plotting. Jace replied that I should secure my future and not wait for a man who did not value me. I felt supported, even though he was also the reason I was in this mess. At home that evening, Evan asked if we could sit down after the kids slept. He said he wanted to keep things calm. I said calm was a trick he used to avoid feelings. He asked where the missing down payment money went. I said there was no missing money. I said the bank was doing something odd. I said he should call them if he was so worried. He asked if I had made any big transfers. I said no and held my face steady. He did not argue the way I expected. He only nodded once and opened a drawer near the hallway closet. I heard a soft click, like a lock. That sound bothered me more than a shout would have. It sounded final. The next morning, I woke up early and checked his phone when it buzzed on the counter. I did not unlock it, but I saw a notification banner. It came from a contact saved as an emoji. The message preview was short, like a reminder. Evan walked in and picked up the phone without looking at me. He asked if I wanted coffee. I said yes and acted normal, even though my stomach felt tight. At work, Bree called me on my lunch break. She asked if I was okay, and her voice was too careful. She said she had noticed Evan was quiet at dinner and quiet at the charity event. I told her he was trying to make me look bad. I said he was doing a silent treatment, which was emotional cruelty. Bree asked if I had done something that made him protect himself. I said she was being dramatic and disloyal. I said she should support her sister. Bree went quiet, and then said she hoped I was not playing with fire. That afternoon, my mother Sharon stopped by my house to drop off a bag of kid clothes. She pulled me aside in the kitchen and asked why I looked stressed. I said Evan was restricting money and acting like I was dangerous. Sharon scoffed and said a husband did not own his wife. She said I should remind him that I could leave any time and he would look like the bad guy. I liked that advice. It sounded like power. So that evening, I pushed. I waited until the kids were drawing at the table. I told Evan I was tired of his cold attitude. I said he had been sexualizing me too much in the past, and now he was acting distant, like he wanted to punish me. I said he made me feel like a tool, not a partner. It was not even a clean story, but I said it fast so he could not pick it apart. Evan asked what I wanted from him. I said I wanted respect and freedom. He asked if I would explain the bank activity with facts. I said facts were not the point. I said feelings were the point. I watched him breathe in slowly, like he was counting. The school pickup line on Thursday was a new kind of strange. Evan arrived early. He got out of the car and signed a clipboard near the office window. He took a photo of the weekly schedule posted on the board, like he was collecting proof of routine. I asked why he was taking pictures. He said he wanted to keep the kids' schedule clear. I said he was acting like I was going to disappear with them. He said he was acting like a parent. When we got home, Noah asked if we could have pizza night. Evan said yes. He kept his voice steady. Mila sat on the floor with her dolls and lined them up into neat rows. I watched her do it and felt a sting in my chest. Even my 4-year-old was practicing order. After dinner, I tried charm instead of anger. I told Evan I missed how we used to be. I said we could reset if he stopped tracking me. Evan asked if I would stop lying. My face got hot. I asked what he meant. Evan said he was not going to debate it in circles anymore. He said he had been watching patterns, not just words. I laughed and told him he was paranoid. I said he needed therapy. I said he was making problems out of nothing because he could not handle being ordinary. He asked if I was seeing someone. I said no, and I said it like an insult, like the question proved he was the broken one. He stood up and went to the hallway closet. I followed, because I could not stand not knowing. He opened the door and reached up to the top shelf. I saw a neat row of folders and one small USB labeled with a date. I also saw a new key on his ring that I did not recognize. He moved his body in a way that blocked my view. He asked me to step back. I refused. He closed the closet door without touching me. Later that night, I heard a shredder hum for a few seconds, then stop. I walked into the living room and asked what he was shredding. He said it was old junk mail and duplicates. I said he was hiding things. He said he was clearing noise. His voice stayed calm, and I hated him for it. I went to the bedroom and messaged Jace. I said Evan was acting like a robot. Jace replied that calm men were the worst because they planned in silence. He said I should get what I could while I could. That message did not comfort me the way it used to. It made me feel like I was standing on thin ice and calling it freedom. On Friday, Evan came home with groceries and placed the receipts on the counter in a perfect stack. He asked me to add mine to the pile when I had them. I said he was building a case against me. He said he was building clarity. I said he was cruel. He said cruelty was wasting our future and calling it love. I tried one last push. I told him he was breaking the family because he refused to forgive my needs, even though I still had not admitted anything. Evan looked at me for a long time, like he was looking through me instead of at me. Then he said he would handle it properly. I met Evan in the office tower lobby on a Tuesday morning because he said he wanted a calm talk in a public place. He said it would be quick. I told myself he chose a lobby to trap me, to make me behave. I also told myself I could win any room if I controlled my face. I arrived early and checked my reflection in the glass doors. I fixed my hair and practiced a sad look that still felt pretty. When Evan walked in, he looked rested. That annoyed me more than anger would. He asked if I wanted coffee. I said no and asked why we had to meet here. He said he wanted us to keep the kids out of it today. He said he wanted no shouting. I said he always acted like I was the one who made noise. He said he was not blaming me for noise. He said he wanted structure. A woman in a simple jacket approached us. She asked if I was Araminta Crowell. I said yes, and I said it loud because I wanted control. She asked me to confirm my address. Evan stayed quiet. My chest tightened, but I still told myself it was nothing. The woman handed me a thick envelope and said I had been served. I looked at Evan like he had slapped me, even though he did not touch me. I asked what this was. Evan said it was a divorce filing and temporary orders. He said he chose the proper way, not a fight. I opened the top page and saw my name and his name. The words felt sharp, even though they were printed in a normal font. I scanned for the part that mattered. I saw lines about temporary financial rules and a temporary parenting schedule. I saw dates that started right away. My throat went dry. I said he was humiliating me in public. Evan said I had humiliated him in public first, and he would not do that game anymore. I said he was cold. He said he was done being pulled into stories. I tried crying, but my tears came slow. I told him I was stressed and lonely. I said he pushed me away. I said I did everything for the house and the kids. Evan said he respected my work as a mother. He said respect did not erase facts. I asked what facts he meant. Evan said the down payment transfers were documented. He said the purchase was documented. He said messages and location tags were saved. He said my public posts and group chats were captured. He said he did not need to yell because the record spoke clearly. I told him he was acting like a robot. I said he planned this to punish me. Evan said he planned it to protect the children and protect what was left of our future. He said he had already set up a separate plan for bills and routine so the kids would not feel chaos. I heard the words, but I only felt insult. I tried a new angle. I asked if he even loved me. Evan said love did not mean letting someone drain the family and then blame the victim. I said, I did not drain the family. I said, I only took what I deserved. Evan said the court would not care what I felt I deserved. He said the court would care what happened. My phone buzzed. I looked down and saw a bank alert. It said there was a change to account permissions and that some actions now required additional approval. My face went hot again. I acted like I did not care, but my hands shook around the envelope. I said he was taking my freedom. Evan said he was creating boundaries. He said he was not locking me out of the children. He said the temporary schedule was clear, so they would not be used as a weapon. I said I would never use them as a weapon. Evan looked at me for a long moment and said I had already tried, with threats and hints. I wanted to argue, but my mouth felt full of cotton. People walked through the lobby and did not look at us, yet I felt watched anyway. I hated that my life was now paperwork in my hands. My sister Bree called while I stood there. I let it ring because I could not handle her voice. My mother Sharon texted and asked what was going on. I did not answer her either. I could already hear her saying Evan was cruel, and I could already feel how weak that excuse sounded now. Evan asked if I had questions about the schedule exchange times. He said he would follow the temporary plan starting today. He said he would communicate through calm messages only, about the kids only. He said he would not debate the relationship anymore. I told him he was acting like I never mattered. Evan said I mattered enough for him to do this the clean way, without screaming, without threats, without drama. He said he was choosing lawful closure. Another alert buzzed on my phone, and I realized the money was not just gone. The future we named together was now a list of protected accounts, set times, and hard dates that did not need my permission.